One of the most important facets of any business is customer service. In business, you are not only selling a product or a service, but an experience. Providing exceptional customer service and developing real relationships with your clients means increased sales, retain customers, new customers via word of mouth, and a positive reputation. You're listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Benjamin Del Grosso gives you the ins and outs of one of the most underlooked aspects in business today. Improve your customer service and watch your business skyrocket. 2, 1. Now, here's your host, Benjamin Del Grosso.
Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have a special guest from the USA, Spokane, Washington. We have Paul Swift. He does all sorts of cool things with bikes and cycling, I guess, right? So, Paul, you should tell us a little bit more about what you do, because I know it's pretty interesting.
Wow, thanks for having me here, Ben. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. My background, I was a kid that grew up in the Midwest, raced bicycles. I got lucky. Bicycles, I left home in high school and traveled the world to be a bike racer. All the goods and bads with that. And then I was somebody who tinkered with my equipment. So I have one leg shorter than the other one. And to compete at the level I did, I really needed my equipment to be dialed in. And that tinkering with the equipment, modifying things, primarily with the pedals, is where I started. Somehow people would start asking me questions. I got on this thing and I started designing and developing products. I bugged some of my sponsors to the point of they would give in. Like, would you change this or move that? And after I finally finished, riding in circles fast, I started designing bicycle products and fitness products. So
that's cool. Yeah. So are you like one of those guys who you were racing with like Neil Armstrong or something like that? Or
well, that Lance dude. So no,
Lance Armstrong. Oh yeah, sorry.
It's all right, man. It's
my son's into space, so I get them mixed up.
It's all right. We can. I raced on a track or a velodrome, and I would say leaving Canada, Kurt Arnett is probably one of the biggest names. I trained with him. He's one of my training partners. He's an Olympic medalist. He's quite a famous athlete in Canada because you don't have nearly as many as the U.S., So as a cyclist, he was pretty good. And you have some others, but Kurt Arnett would be one. He did a Pruitt or Pruitt commercial because he has long, good-looking blonde hair.
Plus.
There you go. That's it. Something like that. Yeah. And so the track, it looks like a running track, but it's banked or steep.
Yeah, there's one actually in Ontario, out in Milton, Ontario, actually.
Yeah, I've raced in a few different places. I raced in Montreal. The last race, Montreal was where the Olympics were, and they had an indoor velodrome or bicycle track. And I did the last race that was ever there before they tore it down. So yeah, I've raced in Canada and around. So
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I do ride the bike, but I would definitely say I'm not. Being young, I was huge into the rollerblade because rollerblade came out.
Yeah,
and it was like this new thing. I want to say that was like early 90s or something like that, right?
That could be about right. Yeah, I remember, and I met Scott Olson, the inventor of rollerblades.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, we used to, being young, talking about the good old days, you go to the roller skate rinks, right? You get the 4 wheels and then I went into rollerblades because I delivered the papers in the morning. Why did I wake up at 5 in the morning, go deliver the newspaper? So I'd use the rollerblade because it was more efficient and got a good workout. And then, but I mean, my brother, crazy on the bike. He's like a BMXer. He does like the back flips and lands on his head, all that craziness.
I did a lot, but I didn't quite go into that far with it. Did a little BMX, did a little this road racing, mountain bike, but primarily the track or the velodrome.
Well, you gotta have like amazing balance to do that, right? And control.
It just came for me. So yeah, it just kind of came from me. It is my specialty. I was known for like my bike handling and skills and putting myself into crazy places and handling and getting out. But it was just, it's what I practiced every day, So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. I mean, you got a bunch of, I'm guessing those are track suits and everything behind you there.
Yeah, those are all U.S. national team jerseys. I have, let me see here.
It's pretty cool.
And like this would be like when you're a U.S. national champion, it's actual stars and bars. But Yeah, that's I'm pretty proud of this stuff. It's pretty cool.
It's all the drive to be a champion, right? And to
Yeah,
train with the champions.
So I have that up there because I forget who I was talking to the other day, but I was at when I first started in Kenosha, Wisconsin, the oldest operating velodrome in the country. A lot of Canadians would even come down. I would show up at the track, and my mother had to remind me of this. She goes, they would yell at you. They would tell you to get off the track. You don't belong here. You're fat. And I don't remember how bad I was picked on. I was a picked on kid, pretty big, pretty bad. And I was showed a picture of some jerseys, and when my mother was still alive, it was a big thing. She goes, "You got another one of those here at home, just as big as that." And I remember where I went to, I have more jerseys than all those people that called me names. None of them have a jersey, and so it was something that felt really good because I was a fat kid and it was tough, and something made me push and get through it. So I'm very grateful for that. Yeah,
it's awesome. So let's get into some questions here. What was your most memorable experience as a customer?
Well, I mean, I was thinking about that beforehand, and I have a lot of them, but I was just thinking more recently, just to kind of because I know what you're involved in and I'm involved in together. And it was just trying to get my teeth cleaned the other day. And I'm not in Canada, by the way, so I'm in the US. So you should.
Oh, we got to pay for our dental work too. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just thinking how long sometimes you guys got to wait to get to see a doctor, but I wanted to get a teeth cleaning, and they said 5 months. And I was like, and I've been there. My family's been there. I don't know how many thousands of dollars we spent at this place, and they're nice. They're only open Monday through Thursday. And I was like, wow, I kind of feel like you don't really need me. And worse, I feel like you don't even want me as a patient or a customer. I'm sorry. And it kind of that was it. And I was like, 5 months. Now, that's health. Now, granted, that's not life and death, but well, since it's 5 months, I finally suggest I give a little pause and a little time. Maybe you could recommend somebody for me to get my teeth cleaning this time, and maybe next time I'll get on the list. Oh, no, we don't have any recommendations. So I'm a customer, and, because we're involved in the same group, long before I had to ask this question of 5 months out and a referral, you and I would have already referred to somebody. And so but it's more than that. It was more it's across the board on, what do I think of myself? How do I allow myself to be treated? And I'm not trying to, there was no argument here. I'm not trying to get a pissy match or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah. But it was wait a minute. I wouldn't treat my customers like that. I know if you couldn't find the product, Ben, or you had to put somebody out that many months, you'd offer some suggestion or alternative. I know that about you.
Yeah. I mean, I will have people contact me that get certain dash cameras, and they're like, well, I don't understand why you won't install it. And it's like, well, because it has an exterior camera, which on some vehicles is going to involve me drilling. I'm going to have to use silicone. I'm going to have to do all this extra work. So tell me where you're located, and I'm going to recommend someone to you. And some people are like, no, but I want you, because they see the Google reviews and all that. And, people are happy.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, I get it. But it's not something when I'm driving an hour and a half one way. If I'm missing one or two tools, now I got to go buy it when I'm out there, or I need to drive back an hour one way to grab the tool, another hour to come out. And then the whole experience gets thrown out the window because it looks like I'm unprepared. It makes it look like I'm not professional. So, that whole part of when we were on that call, and Andy says, sometimes your competitors can service them better than you can. And you just need to realize that way they can take care of it. And that's the way I kind of look at it. And if they can't get you in for 5 months, hey, you know what? Is there someone I need a cleaning in the next month? Do you have someone you recommend that you can get in for the next month? I'll come back to you in the future.
Yeah.
But at least do that. Now you're going, maybe I'm just going to find a new dentist now because you didn't even care about me. Right. And that's what goes through your head.
And I think people maybe haven't really applied it to their doctor or something. Well, it's a doctor or dentist. Well,
yeah,
I have plenty of clients and students I've taught that are PhDs and doctors, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have the one guy Ed. It doesn't matter who he is, how he got treated at the gym. It's it shouldn't be that way. But it was really more of what I think of myself. And I wouldn't do that to a customer. And how worth do I think? I think my teeth are worth more than me waiting 5 months when I know I could go somewhere else. And I did. I made a phone call, got a brand new dentist, just a little bit further away, whatever, maybe it's a mile. And 1 month wait for a brand new patient. I was like, that, I can live with that. It was really customer service sometimes I think is more how we feel about ourselves. And if we really care and respect people, you don't do that. I mean, this place is open Monday through Thursday. We belong into a business group. We'd be like, well, that means you have to open up. Why doesn't he give a kid some opportunity? Because it's just teeth cleaning. A kid an opportunity to open on Fridays or this or that. You know what? That's their deal. My deal is to take care of me. And so I didn't accept that. And I decided I'm not going to waste my time and get mad. I'm just going to go get another dentist. And I did. And I got in. So that's just a recent one. I mean, I had another one. So I have a license agreement with a company called Spinning. You probably have heard of Spinning, but it was certainly before Peloton. And I think Peloton's pretty big in Canada, right? And
Peloton, yeah, there.
Yeah. And so, and it's a pedal, and I have the box up there somewhere. And well, they owe me some money and they owe me a bunch of stuff. But anyway, so I hit up their salesperson. I said, well, what's the best pedal you have? And I said, what's your best bike? And then what's the best power option? And this gal sends me back to a link to a page that had like all these different power options. And I know the bikes well enough, like that bike's not in stock, that bike. And I specifically said, what's in stock today? That's the best. That's what I would like. And it just was like, she couldn't answer the question. And when I answered the pedal question, she didn't answer at all. So I was like, wow. So I pressed again. I said, there's a lot of different things up there. Like, what do you have in stock today that I could buy today? What do you have that's the best for that? Because I know we're all in this era where certain things are out of stock. And so no reply. So finally, after the third email, it goes up to another guy. I said, well, we have this, and this. It's in stock. We can ship. We have these different pedal options. And the reason I have to do this is because it's not just as a customer, but if I say, what's the best pedal? Well, I licensed the best pedal to them and their option. And it's a patent I did. And they owe me a bunch of money. And so it was just showing also that, like, wait a minute. It's like I have a hard time going to a restaurant when you ask the person, like, what do you recommend? And they can't recommend it. It's like, wait a minute, your salesperson in your house couldn't tell me what the best pedal was. Your salesperson couldn't tell me what the best bike was. Your salesperson couldn't tell me what the best power was.
It's funny because you know what that reminds me of right now is I remember going to this restaurant and asking, what do you recommend eating here? And instead of the server saying, what, the ribs are amazing, everybody loves the ribs. Instead, what she said is, well, I'm a vegetarian, so I actually don't eat any of the food here. And I'm going, okay. And the worst part of all of this is just the fact that, so my wife has worked restaurants, bakeries, all that for like all her life. She was on the training team for restaurants. My mother-in-law, right? General manager of restaurants. Father-in-law, regional manager of restaurants, right? So we're all sitting at this table and that's the answer we get. And I'm going, well, this is going to be a fun conversation tonight because it's all going to be about how, like, this is where that server went wrong. And this is why servers need to be properly trained. And, it's just like crazy.
But you're suggesting all that background, and customer service doesn't even have to, customer service is free and it's simple. So I'm a vegetarian. So you know what? I've heard of my friends say this is one of the best dishes here. Like, how hard was that? Because I do the same thing. I ask, because I like the Triple D show, and I'll go to the place. I go, what's the best thing recommended here? Because I want them to tell me. And when they, sometimes they give me a choice. I'm cool with that. Give you a meat choice, a non-meat choice, whatever. But like, I have a hard time going to restaurants because customer service sucks so bad in so many restaurants, when that's the free, easy part. Because the food could be bad, but if it was good customer service, they can actually cover up for that food, right? And you're laughing.
Man. You have no idea. So, I went down to Washington State recently, right? Because I told you I was going down there, but I know you're a little too far away.
Yeah.
So we, we went to Seattle. We stayed at this hotel. It was right next to the Sky Needle. Amazing view.
Space Needle, yeah.
Yeah, Space Needle, sorry.
Yeah. I know the area. Yes.
So, but we're right there. Like our room is like, we're looking right up at it. It's amazing. Grazing view. There's a park across the street that's amazing to go to for kids. Not really for my one daughter, but everybody else, had a great time. And anyway, so everything was good. And then the hotel's like, we recommend to go to such and such pizza. We were like, again, I thought, hey, you know what? We'll go to the pizza place.
Can I ask which one? Or I don't know if you want to say it.
I don't. You know what? I think it was called Zeke's Pizza.
Zeke. Okay. All right.
So we went to Zeke's Pizza. We went in there. This lady, hey, you know what? We'll help you out. No problem. Here, would you like to sit here? Yeah. Okay. And then to order, you just use your phone and scan the QR code. So they sit us at a table. We scan the QR code. They don't bring you menus. You scan the QR code. You have to order through your phone what you want. Nobody gives you any everybody gets this, everybody gets.
Did you even stay? I could not have stayed. I would have had to have walked out. My family would have been pissed at me then, but I'd have walked out.
You know what? We're all hungry. It's
I know.
5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Whatever, right? My daughter's tired, cranky. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just do this. So we order. You have to order water on the thing. They don't just bring you the waters or say, hey, would you like water? They don't say, hey, would you like some drinks to start? And then, by the way, to order, use the QR code thing, right? Nothing. It's just they sit you down. So I scan this QR code. I have to order the waters. The waters came out 15 minutes later. The waters 15 minutes later. Okay. On top of that, the pizza came out about 20 minutes later, which is pretty normal. About 20 minutes probably to make a pizza, right? So about 5 minutes after we got the water. When the waters got brought to the table, right? The lady who seated us starts giving the busboy crap for not bringing out the water earlier in front of us. So it's like literally everything. Plus, on top of the busboy was not even in a uniform with anything to do. It literally looked like somebody saying, hey, do you need a job today? Come in here. We need someone to bus tables. Yeah. Everything was so wrong. The pizza was good. On top of it, $58 American for a pizza and a Caesar salad for one person. $58.
Oh, that's crazy. And the thing is Zeke's is generally like a fairly good pizza.
The pizza I see
don't know about the prices, okay. But you do all that and I don't care if it's the best pizza in the world. I mean, I grew up. We have the best pizza where I grew up. I feel like, and then I wasn't far from Geno's, and I wasn't.
Was it Chicago pizza?
Well, I'm not a Chicago style pizza, even though I grew up 60 minutes north. I'm a thin crust, which is where I'm from. There's a bunch of Italians, but anyway, but bitching out. There's a customer service is easy too. I apologize, and you make up in some little tiny gesture, and we all feel better because we've all probably made a mistake once or twice. But when somebody makes up for it. Yeah, that is what really just driving me nuts today. And so it's something I implement into my products when I design them. I'm having negotiations or talks right now at a big company. And they're like, we want to target your group of people and your bike fitters. And I said, well, first of all, I can give you the list in the database, but what are you going to sell them? He's like, what do you mean? I go, you really don't have products that really serve them very well. And I said, and the other one is, Here's how poorly this little I built up this emerging market. Here's how poorly they've been served. Here's what you have to do. And the guy's kind of he's listening. I go, you have to make products they'd want to buy, and you have to let them buy it. And he's like, I go, that's why I picked this particular group. They've been treated so poorly in my industry, and I would serve them for all. It was so easy to just I could even ship a day later. My biggest customer service issue was. Somebody call it, hey, I want to change or something to that order. I'm like, it's already in the mail. What do you mean it's already in the mail? Where,
sorry, we're too efficient.
Right. Out of 200 customers, honest to God, we would get that probably one out of every 200. We shipped it too quickly, too soon. And I was like, I'll take that one because, and then how do you handle it? Throw an extra one in the mail, no charge for shipping or whatever. You know what I mean? You still make it right.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's easy stuff to do. So I try to design my products with sort of that teaching or customer service built in. What do you mean? Well, because somewhere along the way, you kind of know customer service is probably going to fall short for you somewhere, right? And by making the product as easy and to use and maybe intuitive and things like that, you kind of are giving customer service with your product. Like now you sell the dash cams. Now there's probably one or two out there that are so freaking hard to use. I can't imagine. I don't know. Maybe you just plug and play, but I need a plug and play. I mean, I don't even change the oil in my car anymore. I just drive it, right? I need to be able to just push, go and drive. And you make products that are like that, you kind of are taking care of it, because here's one thing you can guarantee. I design products, but this happens probably in customer service too. This is an absolute guarantee, Ben. The second you think you've made something idiot proof, it is 100% absolute guarantee in life a better idiot will be born. That's just a done deal.
You know what? Nothing in this world is idiot proof, because
Oh.
you know, I know, we'd have because I was a buyer and I still am technically a buyer, right? So because I still buy products. But I mean, early on, I mean, people would send me stuff and say, try and wreck this, put it through the grind, and we do things that we knew installers would do wrong. Like this amplifier will only support 2 ohms. Well, let's put it down to 1 ohm and let's see what happens, because it's not supposed to support that impedance. So let's see if it blows up and starts on fire, right? And believe me, because the thing is when you sell something to a customer, you can tell them, hey, it's only good for, let's just use simple math. It's good for up to 100 kilometers an hour, right? Oh, okay. Well, see what happens when I drive my vehicle 150 kilometers an hour. Well, yeah, but it doesn't support that. Oh, I don't care. Let's see what happens. Well, now I have no brakes, like, I can't stop now. But that's the thing, right? There's always someone who's going to push that to the limit. And then, you end up finding out.
Yeah. So probably 2 of my biggest customer service ones were doing business with another business and what it led to. And I'm going to go back to spinning. I was an alternate on the Olympic team for the second time. I was depressed. I walked into the World Spinning headquarters because I believed I could design a better bike than they did. It was a great program. Same thing with Peloton. It's a great program, terrible bike. And finally, I would go and meet Johnny G, who was involved at the time. And sometimes he'd be there, sometimes he wasn't. And I'm like, I just can't seem to get into this place. So finally, I put my resume together, and they have these special events. And I walk in the front door and I give this to this lady. I go, here's my resume. I have this thing called the Ride with a Champion. Anything I can do for a chance, a consideration, I would appreciate it. Like, I'm pretty much almost on my knees begging. And she goes, oh, have you taught spinning before in classes? I said, yeah, I've taught a bunch of classes. Oh, what bikes have you taught on? And I taught on some she'd never even heard of, because I'd been around the block. I taught on some Italian bikes, this bike. Oh, you've taught on the spinning bike too? I said, yeah, I've taught classes on that. Oh, are you spinning certified? I said, I have to admit, honestly, I'm not. She puts her finger in my face at the world headquarters, which is the old Kappa's Bakery building in Culver City, California. In my face, she goes, how dare you teach spinning classes? You may think you know something about cycling, but you have no right, no business to teach a class on our bikes. And I'm telling you, that day, Ben, I would have taken the janitor job for free to get into that business. I tried to pull my little resume out. I walked out the front door. I looked up and said, I'm going to design the best spin bike in the world. There's going to be a 10 by 10 screen TV. I'm going to have my arm around my mother's, around her shoulder, and I'm going to watch this on a screen. And I kid you not, 2 years later, I'm at the biggest trade show in the fitness industry, and I have no idea. I was told it was the second biggest thing ever. And I didn't have one 10 by 10 screen TV. I had 2 10 by 10 screen TVs with my mother on my arm shoulder in San Francisco. Greg LeMond, 3-time Tour de France champion, the world aerobics champion, teaching on my bikes to the world, because this lady chewed my ass out. So $15 million later, and I go into spinning because they need my pedal now. And I tell them the story, and there was never an apology. There was never, that's okay. And I said, I would really like that lady's name, and I'd like to call her, and I want to take her out to lunch and thank her. And they're like, what do you mean? I go, no, you don't understand it. I want to thank her. She did me one of the best things in the world. So customer service needs to when it's not right, we got to do something about it. Andy's good at that. We're good in our group. You turn it into something. So that was one. And later on, I'm running a company, bikefit.com. I sold it recently to Quality Bicycle Products, or QBP. But we used to sell this adjustable stem. I made one years ago, and somebody made one that was pretty cheap and easy. I'm like, look, let's just buy this, throw it in with the system. They screwed up, and they didn't have it anymore. And so I'm like, and I had brought in a business partner. He goes, make your own stem. I'm like, oh, dude, I don't want to make my own stem. Too much work for the return, because it takes just as much effort to design a product that sells $100,000 a year as it does to sell $1 million. It really is the same.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to do something bigger. This is going to make us a couple $100,000 a year. It's going to cost us 30, 40 to get in. It's kind of a high, like, I'd rather just buy one. So we went to this company. I'm going to say their name, Purely Custom. I said, hey, I want to buy your product. Let's get 10. Let me put it on, like, every 3 weeks, we'll buy 10 more. And I said, what's the shipping going to be? And they're like, well, we charge you. And then if the shipping's less, we'll refund you the shipping. And now, mind you, this was like maybe 3, 4 years ago. I was like, you can't program this in to figure out what shipping is. I don't care. Mark it up $5, but tell me a number and ship it to me. I said, look, I was the number one seller of this category, which wasn't a lot, maybe 500 a year or something. Like, nobody in the world sold more than 50. And like, I'm bringing you this business. And like, it was like pulling teeth to give them money. And that's when I looked at my partner and said, right, I'm going to design my own. So then I made one way better. But it's like, those were customer service experiences that cost easily spending $15 million in sales. That's in 1 year when the product I designed. Now, I wish I would have gotten a part of that, but I'm learning. And this particular one, it like almost cut them out of the business. I probably owned 90% of that business when I made my own. And it's like, it was simple customer service. That's it.
So I know you were talking about how you designed something because of you went into this meeting, you basically got told, you're not capable, you shouldn't even be teaching.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening is it motivated you to, I'm going to go and destroy these people, right?
Yeah.
So somebody else within our group was in the military, and because of their experiences with certain things in the military that are used all the time, they found all these faults with certain products that were delivered and used in the military.
Yeah.
Same as you were finding certain challenges on the bikes. They weren't certain quality. So what they went out of their way to design this military grade replacement that would completely destroy the other unit. Right. And then what they did is they tried selling it into the military. The military didn't want to buy it because they were already, involved with this other company for so many years for, millions or billions of dollars. So then they tried selling it to that company. Right. So I actually, what was interesting is he's only sold 2 of these. It costs him a lot of money because when you build a prototype, it costs a lot of money, which I imagine you totally respect that conversation, right? Templating, making a mold, all that kind of junk, right?
Whatever's involved, yes.
So what happened though is because of that motivation to make a better product, it still flopped. And he could have just said, I'm defeated, I'll go find a job.
Yeah.
But he didn't. What he did was he actually got motivated to build other things and learned everything from that experience of what he did wrong and what he did right. And now I think he's got like a 7-figure company or something like that now.
Right. Good for him. We're full of those stories. And I mean, if that lady at Spinning would have just even lied and said, why don't you come sit in the class? She literally would have diffused my entire drive for what I wanted to do, or I might have allowed that. And so, that's awesome stuff. And so the one thing about that, and so some people say, well, you're negative and you're picking on a big company. Well, that's my job as a little guy. Like, when I teach people and they learn my system in bike fitting, I show them how to destroy these guys over here. Now, I love cycling. I love everybody that's riding a bike, but you're with me. I guarantee this. I'm here to help make you the best you can be at what we do. Now, if you're this one over here and you have this particular system, I show you how to fill in all your holes and destroy this guy. I don't have any less love for anybody, but I do have a passion to make it better. So for example, spinning has so here's where I pull out my card. I can make any bike in the world feel better, more comfortable. No, I can make it produce more power and all these other things too. But here it is. I'm going to have to be sending Peloton a thank you letter because I'm designing this product right now, which I think my first order should be in a couple of weeks. And what this does is, and I don't have the spring in this one, but part of designing, as you know, is you put the handlebars straight on here and then boom, you can get the handlebars closer. If Peloton made the product right in the first place, I wouldn't be doing this business. But, you know, like you and I'd find another one. You know, I'd find something else to do.
Well, it's the thing. You're creating a value add.
Oh, completely. I mean, I put it on a couple. This one lady, the first one wasn't holding. She goes, "That's okay. I want it all the way back, and I keep it on my bike." I'm like, cool. I got an older gentleman right down the street. Pelotons are everywhere, you know. And he goes, he's taller. This is mostly for shorter people, but he can't reach the bars. He's older. He loves it. And so, first, that part of the market's already done. I already know that. But like, it's there. So the thing about Peloton is, and you do your research, the people that designed the bike knew nothing about cycling. Everybody thinks you can make a bike. Peloton didn't design the bike. They hired a design firm. The geometry is terrible. They copied the mistake in every other bike. And that's one thing, like in my world, we have two companies and make pedals, one's Shimano, one's Look. And I remember one year Shimano decided to make the pedal a little wider. First of all, you needed why was the pedal wearing crooked? Should have been maybe the answer to address. So they made it wider. Exacerbated foot pain, brought out more knee pains. But then next year, Look thought, hey, you know what? I got to follow Shimano and make my pedal wider. Neither pedal needed to be wider. They needed to understand why things were going crooked. And it's kind of like the blind will lead the blind. Just because a big company and a good company does something doesn't mean they're the best at it and doing it right. And I think a lot of people, that's something where they miss. And like Andy, he was terrible in business for a long time. What did he just do? Customer service kept him going. Customer service, customer service, customer service. And then finally he was able to match that with the products and things. But you just keep, you know, I have one video that's, I don't know, 17, 18,000 views now and showing people how to, because Peloton has a defective shoe. Like, who would have found that? How would you know that? How would you? And they blame it. They go, oh, there's a problem with this cleat. and like they've spent, I've got it estimated now, I don't know, 4 or 5 million minimum. It's probably 10 or 12 million, but it's a $4 billion company. It's like you and I losing $100. You know, you'll chase it for a couple hours and go, you know, the 100's gone.
Man, lost $100.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
whatever.
I would chase it for a little while, but not after a couple hours. I'm like, I think the 100's gone. You know, and they blame it on this cleat. Here's the customer service. Now they got customers all over the internet bitching, I can't clip into the pedal. That's why I say you design it to be customer service. If they were to design their shoe properly, people would put it on, put the cleat on and clip in. Customer service is done. But no, you make a mistake and you F up your customer service. So people are clipping in, clipping in, clipping in. Now they don't know they didn't even know what the problem is. They don't know how to address it. People on the phone 30 minutes. I've called 3 customer service guys. So how many of these calls you get a day? 3. How long does it take? 30 minutes. So I did the math, you know, and then I did the math. That's what we sometimes send them a new one or a different one. Okay. A different cleat, not fix the shoe. So what does that take? I've calculated that 9 times just those 3, and you figure there's customer service. I don't know, I have 70, 80 people, you know, and you do the math and like, this is becoming a huge number. And then some people bitch so much that they send the service truck, and you just go on the forums and go, yeah, the service truck came, the service truck came, the service truck came. These are the only ones I'm reading. How much of, like, Peloton's a $4 billion company. If, you know, and so I'm probably 10, 20, 30, 50 times too small as far as what's really going on.
Yeah.
But so all the comments on my video are, thank you so much. I was spent over an hour on this. Thank you so much. I was so frustrated. Thank you. This guy in the service phone, on a phone call, didn't know what I was doing. Thank you. Ben, I literally have a hack that takes 2 seconds. It's customer service. I don't know how many millions of dollars they've lost on that lack of customer service, but that's an example. So it's not just restaurants. It's not just going to a store. It's not just, you and I got that part of it. I mean, you and I probably sound like we could or could not eat at the same
Well,
restaurant.
what this reminds me of is, so I was working at a place, we do remote starters. I don't know if you know what a remote starter is,
Yeah,
because
of course I do. I grew up in Wisconsin, not quite Canada.
okay, yeah. So we did remote starters, and we would install, probably as a company, 30 to 40 cars for car starters a day between two locations. Oh yeah,
we were cold, eh?
Oh yeah, well, we were in the prairies, right? So we were installing so many of these, and I came on board back to this company for the second time, and I remember people telling me that their customer service was so huge now as a result of a defective product. So we had a car starter called Ultra Start, and literally they would fail within 30 feet or 30 seconds of leaving the store. Like, it was so bad that like there was a design flaw or whatever. There's a whole these little weird issues that happened with it. And what ended up happening is, because of how they had to start servicing these customers, and they had to be proactive, and they had to take care of them. Like, don't get me wrong, there were issues obviously that took place, and not everything was 100%. But because of how they serviced the majority of the customers, they built customers for life that kept coming back, because when something was wrong, they took care of them. And to kind of give you an idea, so yesterday I get this call, hey, Ben, we have a mutual friend. And I was like, oh, okay. And who's that? Well, you did blah, 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 Subaru Outback for him, and he was really happy. And I'm like, oh yeah, was that the guy who called me and said his battery died from the dash camera? And then I said, yeah, I'll come right out in the next couple hours. And he was like, oh really? I'm like, yeah, like if you want, I'll come out. And he said, well, what are you going to charge me if it's not the dash camera? I'm like, nothing. If I just want to take care of you, right? He called me back, and he goes, well, don't worry, I'll call you. Just wait, because I think he was shocked that I was going to take care of him, right?
Yeah.
Then he calls me 2 hours later and goes, oh, I guess I left an interior light on. So the interior light was killing the battery, not the dash camera. Everything's fine with the dash camera. Okay, cool, no problem, right? So I get this call yesterday, and I say, oh, is it blah, 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 such and such with the guy, dead battery? And I recall this whole story. Yeah, that's exactly who it is. I'm like, yeah, oh yeah, no, he's good. Okay, well, what I want you to install dash cameras in our Subarus. So they have 2 Subarus. I went and did 2 Subarus yesterday.
Yeah.
And I said, well, flukishly, I have no appointments after 2, so I could take care of you too. Yeah. Oh, really? Boom. Did 2 more dash cams yesterday, all because of a referral, all because when that guy called, I can't remember if I picked up right away or called him back. Either way, I still took care of him. And that's what customer service is all about.
And this is not
calling these people.
Yeah,
it's not rocket science.
Going to school, working on the books, crunching numbers. It's just simply what many of us may have just learned being raised and being, yes, please, thank you. That's all it is, right? It's priceless. It's priceless. So way to go. That's awesome. What a cool story,
Yeah, but that's what it is. That's what, like, a lot of people don't understand. I was talking to someone else on the call the other day going, why is it that why is it that so many of these businesses implode or fall apart and everything? And I said, well, part of the problem is they have this vision. We're gonna, this employee here will sooner or later, you're gonna be the general manager, and I'm gonna step back, right? And we're gonna have 2 locations, and da 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 da. And 3 years goes by, and that person still isn't the general manager. You still don't have another location. And then that person quits because your vision doesn't align with what. And that's the same thing with customer service. It's like saying, like I have a friend, and he always says, we give really, really good customer service. And I go, well, how do you give really good customer service? He goes, well, we give really good customer service to everybody. I go, well, half the time I call you, I leave a voicemail, you call me back the next day. How is that good customer service?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, no, like I always take care of everybody. I give them a good fair price. I give them this. I said, yeah, but do you do a follow-up with everybody? Do you make sure, hey, do you do a 1-week follow-up? Do you do a next day follow-up? Or like, what do you do that's different other than to give them a good price? How do you change the game? And
Yeah.
and he's like, well, I don't have time to do like the 1 week follow-up
Yeah.
email. I don't have time to do that. I'm like, well, then how are you knowing that everybody who leaves here is happy? I said, don't get me wrong. I do a 1 week follow-up with everybody, and there's a possibility that maybe someone's not happy and maybe they'll complain to their friends and won't say anything to me. But I have done everything in my power to still reach out,
Yes.
make sure they're happy. And I can't sit there and harass them until I get a yes or no answer, because some people still will say they're happy when they're not. All I can do
Yeah.
is make sure that I'm an open
Yeah.
book and let them know that I'm
Yeah.
approachable and I do want to help them out. And if you're
Yeah.
not doing that, how do you know you're giving good customer service?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There is in my industry a company that I remember, because of my teaching and traveling, I had a pretty intimate relationship with certain products, anywhere you touch a bicycle. And I didn't design many of those products. I designed products to make those work better. I certainly have designed some, but this particular company made a pretty cool product. It was very useful, very keen to my group of people that I targeted. And they gave me a little kit to show people and stuff. But I think it was like 6 months, a year later, and it's just like, Paul, you showed us that thing, and I called them, and they won't sell it to me. Or Paul, they sold that to me, but then they won't sell me the products. Or Paul, like, and somehow I was teaching in Europe, and like every student in my class, 100% could not stand the distributor. I was like, wow, that's pretty bad. So I just called them up because I like these people. The husband I like, the wife was a little challenging. I'm like, hey, got this thing over there. What do you mean? They're great. I said, okay, I only have a small sampling. By the way, my industry is not that big. I was in the Benelux region, Belgium, Luxembourg, and if I'm working with the top 10 guys, it's about the same as the top 100. There's only 200-300 there to begin with. But it was always like, our customer service is great. I was like, wow, they weren't even open to listen and hear. And again, that's part of what do your parents tell you to do? Listen, please, and thank you. You don't go to school for that. You don't pay for that in school.
Oh, no.
Now, I need someone to maybe work on my books a little bit. I'll have to pay for that part. But I'll take care of any customer. That's my just give them to me. My first time I went to the World Conference for Spinning, the World Sport and Spinning Conference. And I'm telling you, like, what do you do? And this is now after they chewed my ass out and I designed another product. Like, you're back. I'm like, well, you get thousands of people that need help because I do bike fitting. I said, here's what I want. I said, I want your worst location in your showroom. And now this is what I want. Any customer that bitches or complains, anybody you have a challenge with, anybody you don't want to deal with, you send them all to me. Within 2 hours of that show opening up, and I've been invited every year since, I had more people at my booth than the entire convention put together with simple customer service. Oh, that doesn't feel good? Here, let me adjust that on your shoe here. How's that feel? Oh my God, it's amazing. I go, I could show all you people how to do that. And now that didn't answer whatever they were bitching about, but it gave them something to be happy about. Literally, my first year at the World Sport and Spinning Convention, my friend and I were downstairs eating in a bar. People were coming up, can you fix my shoes? And it was like 2 years later, they're like, I said, oh, that's cool. We're setting up. They go, oh, we like this and this. They wanted to charge me. And I was like, I sold out your shoe store. People came with a second pair of shoes. You had happy customers, and you want to charge me. So 1 year, my last year, so a couple years went by, I went back again. My last year at the World Sport and Spinning Convention, we're walking the hallway, and there's this woman, middle age, and she's kind of looking a little depressed. And my buddy's like, what's up? She goes, oh, it's my last spinning convention. Oh, you could tell she was from somewhere else. And I was like, yeah. So where are you from? I'm from Germany. I'm head of spinning in Europe. Oh, so why are you done? Well, my doctor says, I got this knee problem and I need surgery. And one of my students, not even me, I was standing next to her, goes, well, can we look at you on the bike? So we put her on the bike, and we'd see the cleat positions all messed up. Like, this is one-on-one shit in my world. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, it feels pretty good. I went as a student for the first time to the World's Convention. I volunteered to go for free because I wanted to experience it once from the other side. I looked, there's this lady. I go, you're still here? She goes, yeah. I didn't have my surgery. I kept my job as head of spinning. And I never got a thank you from spinning. Like, I literally saved one of their biggest divisions with one of my students' 15-minute bike fits. And it's like, that's when I said, I'm never going back again. So, you know,
you have all these different things, and I guess I don't know, it's like people just aren't showing any gratitude, I guess, towards that, right?
There's certain things in the industry. You got to remember, like, you know, there's this certain pedal company I was talking about. Then there's like you have to, like, spinning, which I deal with. Like, honest to God, I don't know if I've ever been. No, there is one company. Spinning is the second largest company. Every time I go there, there are new people working there. I've met 2 people in the 15 years I've dealt with them that are the same out of 50, 60 employees. Every time I go there, there's new people. So it's a culture that comes from the top down, you know, and there's a reason why spinning, who maybe was the number 1 in the world, is now filed bankruptcy, and you have Peloton taking over. They gave it to them. You know, they just gave it to them.
Well, that's what happens. That's what happens, right? I mean, these companies get big, and then their culture changes and turns more into a transactional approach, right? And that's what it turns into. It turns into, can I charge $150 for this shoe? I can get it built for $5. I could sell it to someone for $100, and they can charge $150. So we make $95. Right.
And so it's 2. Yeah. So I emailed the gal at Spinning. Remember, I go, she can't even answer my question and sends me a link to a page with a bunch of crap on. No wonder she's not there next week or next year. I mean, you never brought her in. You never onboarded her, right? You never, onboarded her, all these things. And then you have, so the shoe thing with Peloton is pretty interesting. This is not rocket science. Literally, their shoes have cost them millions of dollars. And I mean millions. And I can show this over. I got the demographics. I can tell you the size of the person, everything about them. And it's like, oh, that shoe looks good. I should buy that shoe. Well, that's, you could go walk on it. Okay. But the thing is you have to put this cleat on it. Not only you have to put the cleat on it, the cleat has to go into a pedal. Okay. It has to work together. So whoever did their sourcing never ever thought about, oh, you know what? Somebody's going to have to clip into this pedal. Like, gee, how come the shoe I bought doesn't clip into this pedal? And that's when you hire. But so that's like, you carve out what you do in your business. And when you don't, you have answers for people. I mean, I got a dash cam. By the way, it won't mount in your car. You got to go buy this special bracket. And then you need to switch this part.
Yeah. So that's the other reason why I've had a lot of people ask me to do radios. Can you do a radio for my vehicle? Can you change it out? I'm like, man, there's like 500 dash kits, probably even more than that, to be honest with you. And, and then there's all the different trim levels. Do you have the LX, DX, SX, GX, whatever, right? And you have to know all those trims. And then do you have the Bose, Harman Kardon? Do you have the, whatever, the bass system? Do you have steering wheel controls? Do you not have steering wheel controls? Do you like, I was in the industry for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And, that's why, when you're in that industry, everybody pushes you to come down to the store to give you an accurate quote, because I've even had it where a vehicle comes in, I give them a quote, and then we install it. It didn't work. And then we end up finding out, oh, well, the subwoofer in the back of the vehicle has a Pioneer logo on it. So this is the Pioneer system. So now we need a completely different harness. And we're professionals. We've been doing this for a long time. Yeah. And that's why I just don't deal with it on the road. People are asking about it, but all it takes is one little wrong error. And like what we're talking about here is somebody basically designed a shoe that didn't work properly because they did. It's like they didn't send them the mold.
Yeah.
It's the generic mold. Just make it.
Yeah. And so, like, there's this thing that, like, oh, they made a defective cleat in there. I'm telling you, there's probably 20,000-30,000 emails on this. And like, there's never, I said, did you ever ask them for any evidence or support? There's none. But that just shows you the opportunities to like when I took on my specialty world of bike fitting in the bike industry, nobody wanted that because they weren't. And as you know, and I know we got to wrap this up soon, the whole world of business has changed, right? Because there are less stores, you buy online more, you have all these different things. And like if a bike shop that perhaps used to maybe have $1 million of inventory, which may sound like a huge number, but bike shops are huge. Like the same size running store might have $250,000 in inventory. The bike shop the same size will have $1 million, literally. And now these shops have $400,000 or $500 because it's just the world has changed and there's less of them. And so the thing was, I was in a very fragmented. I got the guy in the back of his house. I got the coach. I got the physical therapist. I got the mobile guy. I got all these different groups, and I saw it as an opportunity. None of the big companies wanted to deal with it. It's interesting. I sold my company to a bigger company. I got a lot of my customers are pretty pissed off. Paul, I can't get your product anymore. No, I had went to a partner, got a partner who ran it. I would never have done this had I been in charge. I would have made it much more. I wouldn't have done the sale had the transition not involved them and included them. Now, conversely, I had a big company call me the other day, like, hey, I want to target them. I was like, that's the one where I said, well, if you had products that would buy, I got a big audience for you, you know. But I took it as an opportunity because, yeah, some of these dudes are like, I mean, I have very successful people. They just started with a little kit in their hand in their garage. Everybody thought it was big rocket science. I developed an app that costs $20, goes on your phone, right here, the Bike Fit app that I sold now, that I can do a whole Bike Fit on my phone, and it does more than some $10,000 and $20,000 software apparatus that you have to have in a room and you can't leave. And I can do this anywhere. But that's the way the world is. You got to look at those opportunities. Yeah, and people are like, well, how can I do this and start on my own? I go, well, because you get this $20 app. It's on your phone. You email them. You can show them. You know, little things about their fit. You can show them, and it's all right here. And I'll just pull one up for you. Here we go.
Amazon started in a garage. Apple started in a garage, right? So
you can $20,000 for some software. I just pulled it up on my phone to show what that guy's knee bend looks like. $20 app.
It's interesting.
Yeah, but you're right. Amazon. I mean, think about those first. Was it 20 guys that put up 50 grand? How much each one of them are worth?
Amazon, Apple, all started in a garage, right? There's so many different stories of people who've started businesses in their garage or started it in their basement. And some people just never bothered moving out of the basement because why bother? You can run your company out of here right now, especially nowadays.
My next business, I plan to have pretty much home office and use fulfillment. I mean, I didn't know what fulfillment was. I thought you had to build. I used to have this warehouse. I had my business partner who came in. I had my challenges, but I had a lot of good things, and I learned a lot. He's like, we had already moved shipping out because I would have shipping one day 2 hours, one day 4 hours. I never could quite hire a full-time shipping guy. So I'd have to put one of my expensive guys on shipping. And if, you know, that's a lot of pull time away. So finally, oh my gosh, we found this fulfillment company. Oh, that's pretty cool. They picked the product up, they shipped it, a little bit of a learning curve. I'm like, wow, that like reduced my overhead and made it easier. And I bring in the business partner. He goes, well, how long does it take to make this or put that together? This, I'm like, I don't know. I got a kid in the back that does all that. Brings his wife in, piece of paper, and they put stuff together. Comes up to me and goes, why don't you move all of it to fulfillment? I'm like, I never thought of that. I didn't really know you could do that. I literally say in 30 minutes, he probably wiped out like $4,000 overhead. But that's what he does. He's a businessman. I was the entrepreneur. That's why I need the partner in that area. But like, wow, I am not, you don't need an office anymore. You have fulfillment centers.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the thing. Now you're running, your business grows because you're running even more efficiently now, right?
I can focus on what I need to focus on. I had a lot of I've had a couple of business partners, and they're like, Paul, we can't have you on the phone for half an hour for this guy who's going to spend $25. Now, there's my heart and part of me that loves that. But you're too valuable for that. You know, Andy certainly doesn't take calls anymore. But you know what? You buy a product from First Form, get the little signature, a guy calls you, emails you, make sure you're taken care of. That trickled down. That's cool stuff.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, it is nice. I mean, like I interviewed a guy last week who he still goes and serves tables once a month. And the reason why he does that is so that he can report back to the rest of the investors. And when somebody says, hey, this is a problem, we need to change this, he can go, okay, I can see that because I go through the motions once a month. And that's that whole part of not losing touch of your business. Because a lot of people grow out of it and then they lose touch. And it's hard for them. Oh, yeah, that's going to cost me money. I'm not going to do it. Right.
Yeah. I would jump in, like I'd go see my assembly. I'd hire somebody to do my manufacturing. I'd go and visit. And I say, can I get one of those jackets? And they're like what? Like what those workers are wearing? I go, yeah. And I would jump in the assembly line and they were like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, well, it's my product, man. I know how it goes together. I want them to know I also care. So that's customer service too, back and forth. And then like they had a lunchroom. I'm like, no, I'm going to go eat with those guys, the guys that make my product. I can have lunch with you tonight when you're going to take me out to dinner and pay for my dinner, but I want to have lunch with them today. And so, yeah, it's, I don't want to lose. When I said I don't want to take that phone call, I do. And I don't want to lose that. You can't lose touch with it. That's where I think in our group, people are not losing touch with that. Even though they're growing, they're not losing touch with the please, the thank you, customer service.
You have to make sure to stay in touch with all that, right? And make sure that there's that human element, because otherwise then the big problem is and this probably is going to sound negative somewhat, right? But if you're an owner and you're always relying on your employees to give you the information, a lot of times they filter out the information.
Sure.
They give you sometimes, and depending on who it is, sometimes managers are raw managers. Everything we're doing is right. Everything's great. Everything's awesome. And I've always been that opposite. Like, hey, if we did this, we could run the company more efficiently. A lot of customers are coming in and looking for this product. We should start carrying that. Customers are coming in and complaining about this. Can we do something? And we'd have all these different things that would happen all the time. And we had stuff like we'd book 20 jobs a day at that store. And what people would go, well, why are we not, we have a lot of no-shows. We need to fix this. Well, we can't take credit card over the phone, blah, 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 blah. Well, we need to do that, or we need to take an online payment and make people prepay online to fix this problem. So finally, with Cox of the credit card company and everything, we came to agreement to take $100 deposits from people. And we had a lot less no-shows.
I'm sure.
But that's just for me saying something instead of just saying, it's the nature of the business. You're going to get 2 or 3 no-shows a day, right? Because that's how some people do think of it. Whatever. We have 20 jobs booked, 2 or 3 people no-show. What's the big deal? The other part of, but I look at it as going, well, that's lost money. And there's other customers that want to get in that we've said no to.
Yes.
And now they've gone somewhere else.
Yes.
So we've lost them because we could have taken care of them, but we couldn't because these other people didn't show up, right? So there's that whole balancing act. Right. So whatever. I mean, there's all different things to do. So I got a question for you here. Let's if there's one thing you could change in the entire world today, what would it be and why?
I want everyone to ride more bicycles. And the reason is why, because I do bike fitting. When you are truly comfortable on a bike, you get to experience the joy and wonder of cycling. And I think that carries out and transcends over life.
Cool. Yeah. My parents just got some nice bikes with the pedal assist or whatever.
That's the way to go now. And I tell myself, because I need to lose 20 pounds, that I can't go there. But I have friends who are Olympians, who are world champions, that now ride with those as they've aged. I'm still on the bike for 2 hours. I still get a workout. I get to hang with my friends. So it is truly a beautiful thing on many, many levels. And they get to go and explore and experience the joy and wonder of cycling.
Well, the other reason why they have it is there's a lot of hills out here, right? So if you're going up a hill without pedal assist, I mean, it's pretty hard on the knees, especially when you're retired, that they're in their 60s, right? It's not a good thing on your knees and your legs.
So,
right?
What has been the best answer to that question that you've heard so far?
Well, there was
I'm assuming you asked others that.
Oh, I always ask everybody. I get some interesting answers. I will tell you that.
Just give me one. I want to hear one.
The most interesting answer?
Interesting, best. What you felt was the best? I don't know. Yeah.
The most interesting answer I heard was Brian Chan said everybody should serve in the military for at least 1 year.
Okay, that's cool.
Right. And
Yeah.
I thought that was interesting, but the reason why he said that, and the reason why I actually thought it was interesting, is because when you're in the military, everybody's treated as equal. So you could be a millionaire, you could be a billionaire,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you could be literally minimum wage at McDonald's. But in there, everybody's treated the same.
And so one of the things I like about a bicycle is, especially when I lived in Southern California, is there could be the guy who's almost homeless next to the guy who's a movie producer, riding next to each other side by side. And that's one of the beauties I love the cycling. It brings a lot of people together who have never been together before. Some of my friends I've met, I never would have met them if it wasn't for the commonality of a bicycle. Now, I'm sure there are other things and other places in the world that would work, but obviously I love the bicycle.
Oh, that's awesome. You're active, and every time I bring up, like, if I'm doing like a 75 hard or doing workouts, it's like, man, it's like everybody just goes nuts. Like, what are you doing? What's your secret? What's this? I'm like, I'm just doing the work,
Yeah, I almost ride my bike if stationary is indoors for one of my 75 hards every day.
Yeah. So yeah, no, Paul, it was awesome, having you on. I mean, honestly, I think all we really talked about was like scenarios related to customer service and how it affects the overall experience, and just trying to really, at the end of the day, it's trying to get people to think. You really want to try and get people thinking on what they can do differently and how they make little things. And just to kind of I'll let you say the final word here in a second here, but like, for instance, when I was working at Certified Radio, we'd have a customer come in and he'd go, I have a problem with such and such this. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're booking, Friday or whatever, right? And the sales guy just didn't really care, right? Like, oh yeah. And they're like, well, why don't you come out to the vehicle and take a look? Yeah, no, we get in Friday and we'll look at it, right? And what would end up happening is the customer would just be pissed off because to them, the salesman didn't give a shit, right?
Yeah.
And then, what I had to do was build a culture of going, even if you know that there's no reason to go out there because you already know what the problem is, because we've had 20 other people come up with the same problem. They want you to go out there, go take a look. And sometimes they go out there and they find something stupid like, oh, the car starter antenna was unplugged, right? Because they just had their windshield replaced.
Sure.
And the windshield place didn't plug it in. And then they plug it in, the customer leaves. Now we don't even have to have that appointment anymore, right? But the fact that they're so stubborn in the fact of it's not worth my time to go out there, right? But that's why you just do those little things. It's only going to take a minute of your time. You go out there, and a lot of times it may surprise you.
Yeah.
That, and that's really it at the end of the day. Listen to what your customers are saying, give them some time, and move forward. And I'll let you have the final word there, Paul.
Well, I think you kind of wrapped it up, but like maybe from the personal perspective of, oh, I don't want to deal with this, or I'm not sure what the answer is going to be, is like, that's kind of a past vocabulary of mine. It's like, go out there. I know the answers will come. Please and thank you. I'm going to find those little ones. I'm going to be a hero for almost doing nothing that you and I think is, a piece of cake. And if not, I've learned more now than ever. I will try to find you someone that can find the answer.
That is a good thing, right? That's what you want. If you don't know the answer, see if you can find someone. And if you can't, at least you tried and put effort in.
I offer a money back guarantee in what I do. I think I have 2 people because I've seen thousands. So sometimes things just don't, it's going to happen. I offered the money back. Neither one of them would take the money back. I said, I want you to be satisfied. No, you did everything you could. Okay. So I don't have a problem with my money back policy, and I would have given it to them because I would prefer whatever. We've covered it all, man.
You know what we did? Man. We did, but I mean, just you talked about your money back policy, and I remember we were on the networking call on that Saturday, and I was telling everybody, hey, business slowed down the last week. I'm wondering if I'm doing something wrong. Right. So I was kind of down on myself thinking, maybe I did something wrong. Maybe there's something I've done. I didn't really feel I'm putting this negative energy out, but business really slowed down the last week. Right. And then I go out Saturday, I do 3 installs, and all 3 installs tip me. And I was like, wow, okay. and all of them are thank you. You're the guy in the YouTube video. You're the guy who's, I learned a lot from your videos. Thanks a lot for answering all my questions. And I'm going, well, I'm just not doing anything wrong. The market's just slow right now. I just need to realize that, calm down.
Yeah.
I'm obviously doing something right. People are happy.
Reassurance is nice though, isn't it?
Right. So it's like, okay, you know what? Don't be down on yourself. Stay focused, stay on target. That all it's trying to do is throw me off. Be consistent. Right. So
yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It was great having you on. And
my pleasure, Ben.
Hopefully I'll get down to Spokane. We'll hook up. Maybe we'll go on a bike ride.
I tell you what, I can see the mountain right from my window here. I'm on the other side of the river. I'm one off the river. My goal is to be on the river one day soon. But yeah, it's right. It takes us 5 minutes on a bicycle and you're up in the mountain.
Nice. Thanks a lot.
All right. Hey, great seeing you, Ben. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Have a wonderful day.
Thanks for listening to the Focus on Customer Experience podcast. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. For more information or to connect with Ben, check out Benjamin Del Grosso on LinkedIn, at Safe Drive Solutions on Instagram, or www.safedrivesolutions.ca online. We'll see you next time.